And we're getting started. We are getting started. We're going to go over some things today. What's going on, folks? I'm just now getting started. Let me check to see if my audio is okay. Where's my phone? As last time it was doing me horribly for no reason. So let's see how the audio is doing today. Let's see how is the audio doing today. And hopefully as last time it was doing me horribly. Right now it seems to be okay, but I feel like it's about to start messing up at the same time. What's up, C3 mommy? Say audio is great. Yeah, what's up, Amore? TikTok is gonna be fine because y'all are coming through my laptop microphone. But YouTube and them are coming through a different microphone. And I think it should be fine. So audio is great. Yeah, what's up, Amore? TikTok is gonna be fine because y'all are coming through my laptop microphone. Okay. It seems fine. I'm gonna go through and but what's up, C3? Yeah, what's up, Amore? What's up, y'all? What's up, folks coming in? As TikTok as my YouTube audience picks up, I'll keep a watch on them and see if y'all can let me know if the audio starts to get bad. So says hola, I hope everyone is well. Says peace and what's up, Tay Tay? How you doing this was afternoon? Damn near evening. It's tipping evening over here right now. It's 5:48, man. How you doing this evening? Yeah, so we're gonna go over slave narratives. I'm gonna be going live a lot for the next, I don't know. I was about to say month or so. Um, as I try to gear up towards this documentary. Said love the YouTube videos. Appreciate that, Yvonne. Nice to see you. How you doing? So ready to see what you had to show us. Oh man, this one it's gonna be really funny to be honest with you. It's really gonna be funny. These slave narratives are very hilarious, and it's pretty sad because this one in particular was used under somebody from my tree, from my actual ancestors. So we're gonna see him up in there, and that's pretty rare to have somebody up in there like that, because it's not that many people up in here on this project. So if we go down, these are the only people in the Federal Writers Project. So to have a person on here would be pretty rare, and the person we're going to be looking at is Mr. Reverend Wamble. Well, they put Wamble, but it's Wamble. Now, I found this because somebody attached it to my tree, many people, and it still could possibly be a slightly different Reverend Wimble, but I mean, my family says the people that did this family put it in their family tree, uploaded it. I guess they're saying it. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, in fact, because there's some things in here. What's up, YouTube folks? YouTube folks, if you can hear me, if you start to hear garbled audio, put ones in the chat, and then I'll know, and I'll have to switch over to my little bullshit ass mic that I got over here. But okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start going into some of this. But you know what? I'm gonna give us a slight precursor to something else. We'll talk about a slightly different topic to get the algorithm time to come up, but I'm not also just sitting here holding y'all hostage for the algorithm. So one thing, let's see. One person I'm following a lot right now is Oglethorpe, and Oglethorpe's travels through the South Carolina area. Now, Oglethorpe has a college today. Oglethorpe's college is known as the Yamacraws in a sense. Um, let me just do this. Why was this just go full screen? I don't know why it does that. Uh, I'm gonna go Oglethorpe College or University. So you got the Oglethorpe University here. All right. Now, who is buried at Oglethorpe University? You have Tomo Chichi. Tomo Chi. Now look at that stone structure. Look at this castle. Now, you would think that this is something modern, the way they got those windows and stuff on that. Let's see if I can go back to that castle. Hold up. Can I go back? Looks like I can't control it. Let me refresh real quick. I want y'all to see this because I just realized this. Okay, so you got that, right? Now look at the stone structure, right? Now I want y'all to see this right here. Now look at that place. Definitely looks old, but with the windows, it could look like it's modern, right? Well, when you go looking, and this isn't that crazy old, but let's do this. Yama crawl. My new Mac, not MacBook, my new Air, what you call it, iPad Air finally is allowing me to search through these documents like I couldn't before, through my sources, through my photos. But Yamakra, notice that's 1921, Oglethorpe University, same building, right? Now they've been there for some time, but I still don't believe they built that. Let's go back to it. Is that the same exact building? Let's see. It's pretty close. Let's see. Pretty close. Let me see if I see that little steeple. I think I had another one. Here he goes. Here it goes. I knew I seen it. I knew I seen it in black and white. All right, now look at that there. Now that photo's from 1968 though, so that's not as old as the other one. But that's the same building in some of these. But main thing is, notice it's called Yamakra. Now on the current website, I don't really see the word Yamakra. Let's go to about. Uh, their mascot could still be like the Yamakras. History and traditions, or their mission, alma mater, honorary degrees, mission, affordability. After Oglethorpe, I don't even know where to click to find it. These websites, these school websites, be kind of whatever. But it was a very prominent thing to see Yamakra all over it. In the uni- in the yearbooks. So in the yearbooks, it was all about some Yamakras. But these aren't no Yamakras at the same time. These are your average YT dudes, you know what I'm saying? At the Oglethorpe University. Now that's 1968. Let me see if I got photos of somebody there in the other one. 1921. I'd I'd have to probably re-pull up the 1921 to show you the people inside of it. If there were people inside of it, to be honest, I'd have to see if it may have had, it should have had some photos. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I was about to say I thought I had some photos. Here goes some photos. Cause look who's up in there right now. Oh yeah. I forgot that part. I forgot this part. Look who's in there in 1921. The Masonic Club. Okay. So yeah, the Masonic Club, the Yama crawls, because you know why that's important is because a lot of these, um, and I'll show you because they did it with the Yamasi. A lot of these older tribe names were reused as Masonic lodges or Masonic groups. in a sense. So to see the Yamacraw College or Oglethorpe University use the Yamacraw, which that's important because we're going to be looking at the newspapers today. And in that newspaper, I'll have to go to it, but in the newspaper, we're going to be talking about Oglethorpe meeting up with the Yamacraws. So it's not a surprise he used them or they used them as that, but also the Yamacraw were banished Yamasis. So they were banished people, which meant that they were doing something bad within the Yamasi nation. Yet their name still rings on in the college, as we know, those who have followed me before. What's up, Meta? How you doing this evening? Say in the 1800s, several chiefs were masons and wore turbans. Uh, Man, mouth getting dry. Um, I do. I have seen some Indians depicted with turbans in the allegory of the continents. I have seen that. Most of them don't, but I have seen it though. Um, but yeah, so you got your Yamacraw, you have Oglethorpe, and you have the Masons, right? And as we also know, the leaders of the five civilized tribes at a certain point in time around the 1860s were all Masons. They are all Mason. I can't talk. We're all Masons. At least the ones that did the main signing of the treaties. There were other leaders too, but the ones that did the main signings of the treaty were Masons. Okay. So to see this, so what we have here is the Yamacraws, who were a banished tribe of bad people in a sense, being used against the Yamasee later as Oglethorpe armed them up and liquored them up. And then after the Yamasees lost that war, had to travel south, kind of because the Creeks was also in that war, I believe. I had to double check on that war, but on all the players, but I believe the Creeks had helped to defeat them, which would be like Uchis and Shawnees, different tribes, but the Yamakra was one. We're also going to talk about you know what? Before we get into the story of Reverend Wamble, we might get into the story of said there's no sound. Y'all, let me check my sound here. I believe the Creeks had. We're going to be talking about Oglethorpe meeting up with the Yamacraws. Seems to be okay. It's not a surprise he used them, or they used them as the other leaders too. But and it's not garbled. I'm not sure what's going on the other end there, boss man, Mr. I am Indian. And the audio seems to not be getting garbled right now. So and yeah, TikTok folks, y'all are on a different so we got the hair down today. Yeah. That's my that's my when I need to get a retwist, then that's when you know I got the hair down. But that's me telling on myself. But yeah, nah, y'all TikTok, y'all gonna hear it all. Y'all are on a different mic than my folks on the other three apps. Okay, so let's go forward. It seems like I'm fine though. So the Masonic Club, right? Uh, so I was saying that we might get into the story of Mary Musgrove, but really, yeah, not really. You know what? If things people are coming in, the algorithms kicked. We're just gonna go ahead and go into the actual document, and then we'll possibly go back into that later because the story of Mary Musgrove and how the Yamasees and Yamakra had kind of had this skirmish thing that happened. It's pretty interesting. But today is more about the slave narratives. Slave narratives. Now, this particular slave narrative comes from my own particular tree. I'll pull them up. And he is known as Mr. Wamble. Which side is he on? He is on my one of these sides. I think it might be down here. Not the Buck Hottons, the Wambles. All right, yeah. The Wambles is coming off of the Tates. Might even have some Tates up in the chat. Anybody got some Tates? Tate. So Wamble, Andy Wamble, Abraham Wamble, and Abraham Wamble. Now, these dates are iffy. Now, these people go back to North Carolina. Look, I got a person going back to North Carolina, 1776. All right. And I've been looking in the South Carolina newspapers. I haven't been looking in the North Carolina newspapers, but they're going to be very similar to a degree, I would imagine, but there's going to be some differences. Different, probably, possibly different tribes, possibly different things. But um, just think about this. I mean, this is him. And if we could find their father, that would put me further back into the 1700s. So I'm in the 1700s on several of my lines. For those who have not done their genealogy, I really do suggest you do that. But so we're gonna look at these folks, and we're also gonna note. I want you to note that the Wambles. Let's do this. Wamble right here. Open this and all of them. Right here. Okay. I also will let you know that this same Wamble that we're about to talk about was in this book, Abraham Wamble. Okay, he's a Reverend Abraham Wamble. Okay, right, similar to what's on my tree, right? Abraham Wamble, right? Similar location too. Okay, um, if I well, hold on, let me see. It may not be that Wamble. Let me see where this other Wamble ended up. Mississippi. I was about to say it may not be that Wamble because it said North Carolina and it said he was unalive in Mississippi. And what does this one say for the other Wamble? Mississippi. Okay. North Carolina to Mississippi. Say you shouldn't put your whole tree online. It's been out there. I ain't tripping. Uh Everyone has their own lineage. Exactly. Exactly. AW4 research. Exactly. Exactly. And I use mine prominently as a piece as an example for people. But I'm not mad at you for saying that though. That is something people would say. Meta would definitely tell you, be careful. Me, I've been putting it out there for quite some time. So hey, too late for me. Too late for your boy. But I could stop doing it. But I'll be a test dummy. You know what I'm saying out there in the world. And I got so much stuff going on in my life that eh, the most somebody gonna do is take my stuff and just act like they me for a second. Look at this, my lineage is which is some BS too. She said, right, but I'll share a line or two is what we do. Exactly. Exactly. What up, opium? Yeah, exactly. But he said, I said, good luck. I don't need luck. Yeah, I don't need no luck. Yeah, no, I'm protected. I'm definitely know I'm good. I said, stop re-traumatizing yourself. Is it these FBAs that keep coming up on YouTube side that like the funny thing is as I'm a pull back on a lot of the harsh words that I typically would clown with lots of uh with lots of curse word and in my rhetoric because I got banned and I don't want to. You know what? My live is more so about the information, not about you fucking clowns. Not about you fucking clowns. You'll just get blocked like dumb bitches because dumb bitches get blocked. And that's all I gotta really say to you. And you can take your dumb ass on to try to learn more about how to be more of an ethno-genocide, blah, 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 Tariq loving bitch. Block. Gone. Okay. Yeah, man. I don't know what's up with these folks. I don't know what's up with these folks. I'm gonna start getting them up out of here. And in fact, it makes me want to go even harder on the FBA. The more that y'all come up in here, you know, the harder I'm gonna go, right? You know that I'm real petty, and like this gives me more fuel to fuck with y'all. But when I fuck with y'all, the problem is you can't beat my scholarship. Nobody in FBA is gonna come and debate me directly. You think Simon is gonna come on my channel? Do you think Afro Elite is gonna come on my channel? Do you think Tariq, any other FBAs is gonna come up on my channel? Why would they do such a thing? Right? It's an FBA is a remix Pan African. Exactly. Another Jesse Jackson bitch made group. You know, I'm gonna try to keep some of my curse words to a minimum for the banishment algorithm. You know what I'm saying? But okay, let's get back to the motherfucking facts. So, Abraham Wamble, Mississippi. So we know we possibly talk about the same guy, but I want to show y'all first that he was unalive. But before I show y'all what it wrote about in the book, let me show you what it wrote about him in the newspaper. This newspaper coming from 1871. Now it says here, Mr. Abraham Wimble. Let me just give him a little whatever here. And you gotta wonder, like these people saw me talking bad about Tariq, they subscribed to me so they can come to my live stream because I don't know why else they come. I wouldn't even know I was live. You know what I'm saying? These people are weird. But Abraham Wimble, a colored preacher. So now think about this. This is 1871, y'all. So if I was wondering whether or not these people were melanated or not, I need not worry because it says so in the newspaper, right? So that means this Mr. Abraham Wimble, going back to 1776 in North Carolina, is colored also, right? All right, well, let's keep going. We have a colored man going back to the 1700s, and I said that right, 17, like that, like there's an M in there, 1700s, okay, taken out by 50 or 60 masked men. Think about this, y'all. Now I'm gonna go I need to get some water. But this is 1871. Well, I mean, they say mask because I guess they were the KKK, so that was masked up. But I was about to say, shouldn't you just be able to go off a nigga real quick if you wanted to during this time? Why you got to mask up? But they playing Ku Klux games, so I guess I got to watch my words on the algorithm still. But they're playing those kind of games, so okay, that's why they masked up. And they pew pew Mr. Marshall, a bitter Democrat on whose place Wamble lived, states that he did not know a more quiet and well disposed man in the neighborhood, but he voted the radical ticket. Okay. Well, ain't that a bitch? But that's what I found out my about my ancestor, one of my ancestors in the newspapers. So I also found this book in which it tells the same story. So if I was wondering, hey, maybe they're not truthfully telling the truth in the newspaper, maybe it's the newspaper. Well, somebody wrote this book. What does it say in this book? 3 months later, in the same neighborhood, a mob of 50 or 60 Klansmen took Mr. Reverend Wamble from his home and shot him 7 times for voting the radical ticket. Even before the spate of homicides in August 18, hold up, spate of homicides in August of 1869. Now think about this, y'all. This is Reconstruction time, and I got to be honest. I got to be honest. I shed some tears one time while driving about this guy, Mr. Wamble in particular. I've shed a few tears about my ancestors thinking about it. What's up, Carmen? How you doing? Says says I wish they'd stop being a distraction because I'm here to learn. Exactly. And I look, I ain't gonna let them be a distraction to no more, man. I'm about to stick to the goddamn facts, and I'm a block them. And what's gonna happen is over time, as this Indian information grows and grows, and we go hard on these documentaries, what's gonna happen is they're gonna be wanting to come right the fuck back over. And at that time, I'm still gonna tell them to kiss my ass. No, just play. All right, so 1869, and I said that I shed some tears. Said FBI didn't come about until what, about 1920s. I don't know when the FBI started, to be honest. I'd have to look that up, but likely it's possibly so around that time. Opio said exactly, me too. Yeah, I already know you on the same timing. So, and the reason why I shed some tears, just to say this, finish that notion, is I thought about how fucked up it is that you get politicians all the time telling you, man, I need to get something to drink, telling you that you need to go vote because somebody died to vote. And it was the way that they use it, it's like, now to me, it's like, no, wait a minute, bitch. You're using my ancestors' stories, who literally was in the newspaper shot to death for trying to vote a radical ticket during Reconstruction time, which now we know was during the time they was taking out head niggas, right? And he was a reverend, and we know now that the churches were pretty important, especially during the colonial times. But even during this time, now I also had to think about it too. Is with him being a reverend, was he on the bad side of things? Almost like a MLK story. Come in, go up, starting the whole Masonic thing, get to be a reverend under these trustees, schoolmasters, bullshit we don't learned about, right? That's been propagating since the early 1700s from South Carolina that we've known now. Um, and did he just like change his tune? And then all of a sudden, he became a target, or was he already a prominent reverend, what they call reverend, but some kind of spiritual leader in that area? Prior, I don't know. But I'm kind of conjecturing at that point. But what we do know is he was unalive during the time 1869. Now let's bring up what is important and going on in 1869 visually that you can see. Let me show you. Let me show you. And some of y'all already know where I'm going with it. Boy, man, if AI, well, no, I don't want to say that. I was just about to say, if AI could get in my brain and I could like beam what's in my brain right to the screen, but hell no, don't put no AI in my goddamn brain. Let me shut that up right now. I don't need to do that. I'll take my time. I can wait. We'll find it in here. Okay. So, what was going on in 1869? Well, don't forget, in Louisiana, uh, in 1868, full of us, right? Full of us. We come over to Mississippi, where my folks was unalive for voting the radical ticket. Now this is afterwards. So think about this. I wonder what it was like before. I wonder what Mississippi was like before this, and I may have to go try to look it up. But even in 1874, you still have a lot of us down here, right? As I've shown before, prominently, all the way down there, whatever. Some over here, you got a little mulatto chick right there, little Creole right there, all that, right? this could be the slight transitioning. They done started unaliving folks, started taking folks' positions. Who knows? I'm kind of conjecturing, but I'm not conjecturing it incorrectly because I think this is by 1890s or 1900 or something. This is what Mississippi looks like after that. The only nigga you gonna find all the way through this piece, where that fool at? He's somewhere in there. Oh, there, there you go. There you go, down there at the bottom right hand corner. And that's so fucked up. They literally put him last. Literally put him down as the last. Ain't that a bitch? And look how much brighter his circle is than everybody else's. Makes me wonder, why is it like that? But it's like that up there. So it could just be an accident. But okay. So that's going on during this time. 1860. This is what? This is 42nd something Congress. Is there a year on this? Niggas all in Congress. The 42nd Congress, 1872. 1872. Here you got a bunch of colored senators and representatives. Okay. Each state: Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Carolina. So when I look at this and I look at history, and then you got Alabama as well. So those people who haven't seen that one, this one right here, Alabama legislator says the Negroes right there, the Negroes above in the picture is mostly Negroes. Okay, let me give me some water real quick. All right, your boys back. Say we went to fight wars and they took land. Political takeover. Yep. So send a switch of law. Then said FBI started in Georgia and is still here today. The GBI. Wow, I know it started in Georgia. That's wild. Uh, what's up? What up, TB? I just seen you say what up down there. What's happening, TB? Let's see. What's up, Nikki? How you doing? Appreciate the gifts. Appreciate the gift, Nikki. Much appreciate the gold chain, rocking it. And appreciate the gifts also. It's Curtin, Native Sun God. What's up, Native Sun God? I appreciate the gifts, Opium. Appreciate that. Honey K, what's up? Good to see you in here. Appreciate the gifts. Appreciate that message. Appreciate the truth. Appreciate y'all. Good to see y'all. And Nikki, if I miss you in the chat, I'm so sorry. I like to make sure I see when Nikki come through, or when all of y'all come through. But she's definitely one of my long, loyal, faithful people that's been here. A lot of y'all are too now at this point too. I will say that too. So now we got time frames. Now we're gonna get. Now I've been able to paint this story to you because now we see Abraham Wamble. We know he's colored. We know the family goes back way back. I wish I could figure out his family from there. And I bet if I paid somebody, we might be able to go a little bit further than what I've gone. Said I'm so happy I ran into some teachers. Said, oh, you just got here. Yes, what's up? So so now we know, okay, and we kind of got a picture. He was unalive with some KKK members, by some KKKs during a prominent time where we were in office. Okay, a very prominent time where we were in office, um, in many different states throughout the South. So now you really start to wonder who was Mr. Wamble and why did they unalive him? But that's a story I'm gonna have to try to figure out. And don't, you know, believe me, I'm gonna try to figure that out. But until we do that, we're gonna get to the slave narratives because somebody decided to write a slave narrative. Which, how can you be? How can you? Let's first look at this. The project was done in 1936 to 1938. Mr. Wamble was unalived in 1871. So, which Wamble are they talking about here? Right? And they're talking about a reverend. And I was like, well, maybe they're talking about the son and this and that or whatever. And I try to make sense of it until you get down to Andy Wimble. You got an Andy Wimble here. And by that, they say he was born in Tennessee. Um, and I need to do a little further digging in between this story, but it's really kind of convoluted because it's like he'd have been the only one possibly alive. Like if he lives to be 90 something years old, being born in 1846, then he would be around for the writers project. But because this writers project, literally, if they're writing about people who are alive in 1936 to 38 when slavery ended in 1865, these people have to be well into their late 60s to 70s. So to even remember any kind of slave thing that happened. Okay. So keep that in mind as we go through now to read the actual narrative. Let's pop down to the page. Let's see if this will make it faster. There we go. Bibliography: A. Reverend Wamble, 1827 Madison Street, Gary, Indiana. Uh, Ex-slaves Wamble Wamble, Gary, Indiana. So this is where they're saying that they're at now, and I have to double check into that. But either way, I'm gonna read this. So y'all say y'all can't hear me. Check 1 2 1. Uh, my audio seems to go. It seems like it's going through right now. Y'all can hear me on TikTok side. Okay, okay. Can you please upload this on YouTube so I can watch it later tonight? Oh, I'm simulcasting on all four platforms, so it's already once I'm done, it's gonna be on YouTube. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, appreciate it. It might just be tripping. Okay, okay. She said it's fine. Okay. But yeah, I am simul streaming on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and nobody watch Facebook. And so so yeah, it's gonna be on there. All of them are on there. So you good. You good. I know you may have to dip out and do what you gotta do. So said watching on YouTube is what's up, Cyberborn? Said watching on YouTube is Frank Hot Nine. That's what's up. And y'all can hear me. That's what's up. Appreciate that, Carmen. All right. So we're gonna read this and we're gonna break this down. Reverend Wamble, Gary, Indiana. Okay, let me give him a little. Well, I can't do my pointer, but I can do that. Okay, that's what's up. All right, Reverend Wamble was born a slave in Monroe County, Mississippi. Wow, because now that I know more about areas, Monroe County was where Monroe Mission, which is also where my love family was at. There was a mission school. Man, I gotta go look. I'm gonna have to pay for the damn. I'm gonna have to pay for this damn subscription on Ancestry again because like I got there. I remember seeing school documents from one of my ancestors from like an old school, and that was before I knew about these mission schools. That was before I knew about any of this shit. And I was just like, oh look, he's in the school. They got records, you know what I'm saying? But like he might have been down there in Monroe Mission too. But the other person in my tree, and I'll show you real quick. Other person in my tree that has Monroe Mission on it. is French Nancy, who is married to Holly Cohio. Okay, Monroe Mission, right? So yeah, yeah, and that's in Mississippi. Now, even though this thing says they're in Gary, Indiana, keep in mind at this time they're in Monroe County, Mississippi, same as my ancestors. All right. So let's go. In 1859. Now notice this is Reverend Wamble was born a slave in Monroe County, Mississippi in 1859. Remember, one of them Reverend Wambles he's talking about was unalived in 1869. So this can't be that one if he was just born that, because he would have been 10 years old, right? He wouldn't have been no damn what you call it. So I don't know which one they're talking about because the dates are all over the place, but we're gonna keep going. Okay. Says the Westbrook, like your boy Westbrook, the ball player. So, but we're talking about a Wamble family and a Westbrook family. It gets kind of convoluted or confusing. But first it says Reverend Wamble was born a slave in Monroe County, whatever, in 1859. Then all of a sudden it says the Westbrook family owned many slaves. So what they're getting to is that the Westbrook family owned the Wamble family. So it's going to say the Westbrook family owned many slaves in charge of overseers who managed the farm, on which there were usually 200 or more slaves. One of the Westbrook daughters married a Wamble wagon maker. So first thing I want you to take in mind is this. You have a Westbrook family who supposedly owns all these slaves. You have a Reverend Wamble uh, who apparently was owned by them, but apparently a Mr. Wamble. I don't know if that's the Reverend Wamble. And I'm going to get to that because what you're going to find, let me just say this. What you're going to find is they never say first names. So it's going to make it confusing. But that is also got to be on purpose because you would never do this and not say first names. Say your voice and picture perfect on both streams on this way. Appreciate that, Frank Thoughts or Cypher Born. So, but then they're saying that, okay, one of the Wembles married a Westbrook. Okay. And he was a wagon maker. He was a slave, but he made wagons. Okay. The Westbrook family gave the newlyweds two slaves as they did the Wamble family. So it's getting confusing. But the Westbrooks gave the Wamble family two slaves as as did the Wamble family, which I don't understand that part. One of the two slaves coming from the Westbrook family was Reverend Wamble's grandfather. Okay. So one of the slaves coming from the Westbrook family that he was given to his daughter who had married a wagon maker was Mr. Reverend Wamble. His grandfather was Reverend Wamble's grandfather. Now, if they would have used names, it would have helped. It said names and it's also sometimes, yeah, exactly. Mm. It just really confuses things. Then it says, it seems that the slaves took the name of their masters. Hence, Reverend Wamble's grandfather was named Wamble. I was like, wait a minute, man, y'all done confused me already, man. Hold on, man. This slave narrative got me all over the place in my head. I was, I was like, okay. And that doesn't make sense because what? Who took whose name? Because you gave him two slaves. One of and he took a Wamble name because I guess he would have been a Westbrook, but he took the Wimble name, so he had no name before that. Or he was a Westbrook before that. He was a Westbrook slave before that. So I don't know, man. Whatever. So let's keep going. Okay. What's up, Empress and Janet? Said they're assuming. I know, right? Uh, so let's keep going, man. And so it's like families owning only a few slaves in moderate circumstances usually treated their slaves kindly, since, like a farmer, their slaves were well provided for. The slaves were valuable and there were no funds to buy others, whereas the large slave owners were wealthy and had more slaves, one or more, wait a minute, were wealthy and one or less made little difference. Okay, let me read it again. Whereas the large slave owners were wealthy and one slave more or less made little difference. The Reverend's father and his brothers were children of the original African slaves. Now, y'all got to think about me and the mind of me. What's up, Lineage Business? I see you over there. Saying, Massa treated y'all kind too, huh? What? Let me just block dumb bitches. Dumb bitches get blocked, and you get called a dumb bitch before you get blocked. There you go. Enjoy that. African slaves. So just think about this, y'all. So what's my Facebook? It's, to be honest, it's under my personal name, which, I mean, y'all know my personal name. To be honest, if you find me, you can find me through my personal name. But I don't be on there like that, to be honest with you. I don't be on there. But I keep putting the I just I like clicking and allow it to go up. You never know. Cause I tell people, and I'm gonna try to sign up for more apps because the goal is to reach more people with the right information, right? And so the more apps I can put it on, the more it can spread. Right now, hardly nobody watches it, but you never know what algorithm might pick up something and throw it somewhere. So I'm always keep putting them on there. But yeah, as you can see, this has African slaves, one of the original African slaves. So imagine me in my early journey as other people on TikTok are saying stuff like, I ain't got no information about my people coming from Africa. And then I read this. But I was already in the mindset of, this likely ain't true. You know what I'm saying? It's likely. Let me keep reading this document to see what it says, because I could have just left it at that. And don't get me wrong, for a minute, I pondered it. I pondered, like, even after I read the document, how stupid it was. I still pondered, like, man, did I really find a document of my people being from Africa? This will be the only one, though. This is like the only thing. All right. And so, okay, let's keep going. It says, where they say that Reverend Wamble and the brothers or whatever were people of the original Africans and were of the same age as the Wamble boys and grew up together. Notice everybody's still using last names. The Reverend's grandfather was manager of the farm, and the three Wamble boys worked under him the same as the slaves. Mr. Wamble never permitted any of his slaves to be whipped, nor were they mistreated. Mr. Westbrook was a deacon in the Methodist Church and had two slave overseers to manage the farm and the slaves. He was very severe with his slaves, and none were ever permitted to leave the farm. So they talking about Mr. Westbrook. Apparently, Mr. Wamble treated his slaves okay, but they're gonna say Mr. Westbrook was a tyrant. Is that dude still in here? My bad. I just looked over this way. Oh, no, no, no. Okay. Said apprenticeship. I done ran out of water. Ain't that a bitch? And I don't like drinking faucet water. That shit horrible. Unless you at least got a filter on it. Said I'm gonna need to look in the African notes more closely for you. I need to look at this African note more closely. Now, when we go through this, you're gonna see it's a bunch of bullshit. This whole story is a bunch of bullshit. After that, after I read through it for real, I was like, yeah, no. They threw all this together. And we also know that he was unalive too. So yeah, it's just crazy. Uh he said if they did leave the farm and were found outside, they were arrested and whipped, according to this dude, the Westbrook slaves. Then Westbrook was mortified, and one of the overseers would come and take the slaves home, where he would again be whipped. So we've talked about whipping a couple times already. Now, what's funny is there's gonna be a whole lot of whipping in here. It's like somebody had like a wet dream about whipping. I gotta kind of keep it PG, I guess, for the TikToks, but and it gets kind of weird. But let's keep going. It says, so we brought him in here where he would again be whipped. All right. The slave was tied to a cedar tree or post and lashed with a snake whip. I was like, okay. Now you go down here. It says, Mr. Oh, no, it says Reverend Wamble's mother. Now we don't have a name, but Reverend Wamble's mother was a Deerbrook slave, not a Westbrook slave, but a Deerbrook. But notice they try to write in Westbrook in there. So maybe they meant to put Westbrook. They don't know. They was making mistakes all around the place. Was he Deerbrook? Was he Westbrook? I don't know. I want to talk about whippings. All right. But he was a Deerbrook Westbrook slave. And when the Reverend was 2 years of age, his mother died from a miscarriage caused by what? Whipping. If you don't think that this story is idiotic and gonna give it more words, this man just said that a miscarriage happened because a person got whipped. Okay. All right, let's keep going. After some other people had just been whipped up here. All right. When the women slaves were in advanced stages of pregnancy, they were made to lie face down in a specially dug depression in the ground and were whipped. So think about this, y'all. They're literally saying that they dug a hole in the ground so you could fit your belly in, so you can lay down flat, even though you could have just stood up straight and it could have whipped you that way. That way you could lie down on the. They took the time to dig a hole in the ground so you could lie down flat on your stomach, so that way you won't depress the baby too bad, because they're con masters, and whipped you on the ground. Okay. Now, does this, is it already starting to seem like somebody's whipping wet dream? Yes, it really is, and it gets worse. It gets worse. This is a little whipping. It gets worse. Imagine me reading this for the first time. I'm like, okay. Otherwise, they were treated like the men. If you was a woman and you was getting beat, you would be treated like the men if you wasn't pregnant. Their arms were tied around a cedar tree or a post, and you were lashed. All right. Since Reverend Wamble appeared to be a promising slave, both the Westbrooks and the Wambles wanted him, much like one would want a valuable coat today. Okay. All right. All right. Since the Reverend's grandmother was a Westbrook, okay. Since the Reverend's grandmother was a Westbrook, and the Wambles treated the slaves much better, she wanted him to become a Wamble. You get where I hope y'all keeping up with these name changes and who's, I hope you understand. I don't know. I'm completely lost, but names changed again. Okay. She hid the child in a shed, what would probably be more of a poor doghouse today, and fed the child during the nighttime. So what they did was hurried up and came up with a quick story and said Reverend Wamble's grandmother was a Westbrook, but she wanted her child to be a Wamble because the Wamble treated his slaves better. So when she was pregnant and had a baby, she hid the baby in a poor little doghouse and would feed him scraps through the night. Now, I didn't say the scraps part, but I mean, come on. This is the Federal Writers Project. Now let's keep going. During this period of his life, the Reverend remembers what happened to one of the Westbrook slaves who had run away. Now, think about this. During which period of his life? During this time when he's a small child in a doghouse, he says he can remember what happened to one of the slaves. So he's about to tell this story that he remembers as a little child being able to be fit in a doghouse, y'all. This is the story. He says one evening he came to the Wamble home. And which Wamble? How many? He came to the Wamble home and asked for some supper. Wamble took the slave into his home and after feeding him, placed a log chain which was hanging above the fireplace around the slave's waist, left him to sleep on a bench in front of the fireplace. So the kid went in there as a little baby boy for something to eat, and he put a lock on it, a log with a lock on him and a chain on him. Okay. Says the next morning the slave was given breakfast by the Wambles. Westbrooks, no, by the Wamble. Good God. After the slave was given breakfast by the Wambles, Westbrook, his son, and overseer appeared. Which Westbrook? Reverend Wamble, in his hideout, remembers being awakened by the sound of a slave being whipped. And in the moaning of the slaves. He was awakened by that. Get your ass up in here. All right, all right. Anyway, this shit is crazy. After the whipping, because they like to write the word whip. After the whipping, the slave was turned loose. After he had gone about a mile through the bottom land toward the river, Westbrook turned his hounds loose on the slave's tracks. The hounds treed the slave. What does treed means? Literally, the hounds made him go up a tree. That's what they're saying. The hounds treed the slave before he had another mile, much like a dog would tree a cat. Okay. But you also got to ask a question right now. What's up, Tabitha? She said, why we only at 11 people in here, y'all? I appreciate that, Tabitha. But y'all think about this. How does this little kid that's attached to a log and a chain at the house, seeing this slave run a mile up the street, get chased by hounds, and then get treed up a motherfucking tree? He can remember this shit. People are idiots, dude. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what they was on when they wrote this shit, but okay, let's keep going. It says the Westbrooks pulled the slave down from the tree and the dogs slashed his foot. The slave was then whipped and long ropes placed around him. He was driven back to the Wamble's place with whips where he was once again whipped. What did y'all think was going to happen when he got to the goddamn house? I pulled this nigga down off the tree, whipped his ass, drove his ass home, whipped him some more. At first, wait a minute. They whipped him, turned him loose, sent the hounds, treated his ass, got him down, whipped him, brought him back, whipped him some more. I said, these niggas is playing games. Take a shot every time they said the word whip. I dare you. Whenever they were at whips, you take a drink and say, This shit don't make no sense, dude. No sense. Okay, let's keep going because it's hard to keep going. It says they then drove him 2 miles to the Westbrook place where they whipped him again. For what? Shouldn't the man be? I guess he got to be unalived at this point, unless y'all ain't got no power in your whips. And you must be unalive. If he ain't unalive at this point, you got to be the weakest motherfuckers on the face of the earth. And in many cases, they are the weakest motherfuckers on the face of the earth. But okay, whatever became of the slave, whatever he died or recovered is unknown. Hold on, wait a minute. You can tell me all those details, but and this was that man's slave, but you don't know what happened to him after all of this. Okay. All right. One unusual feature of this story is that Westbrook, who permitted his slaves to be whipped, was a church deacon. Oh, don't forget, we know about them churches, but I don't believe none of this story, so whatever. Whereas Wamble, who never attended church, never whipped or mistreated his slaves. That's weird. Okay. Why would you even say something like that? But okay, let's keep going. The Reverend this week all work. Yeah, he got whipped 10 times in 30 minutes. The Reverend 50 Shades of Whip. Stupid. The Reverend states that in the community where he resided, the slaves were well treated except for the whippings they received. They were well fed, and if injured or sick, were attended by a doctor on the same principle that a person would care for an injured horse or a sick cow. You notice how they gotta keep likening us to like animals? Yeah, yeah, they took care of you as if as one would take care of a hamster. Okay, shut your bitch ass up. Okay, that's what I want to say. Shut y'all stupid ass up. Get the fuck out of here, YT folks. Anyways, okay. Took care of them just like one would take care of a sick cow. Okay. The slaves were valuable, and it was to the best interest of the owner to see that they were able to work. Okay. In case of slaves having children, the children became the property of the mother's owner. If the South had won the war, Wemble would have been a Westbrook, since his mother was a Westbrook slave. And if it lost, he would go live with his father and take the name of his father, a Wemble slave. They would always take the name of the father. I ain't never seen the case where the child took the name of the goddamn mom because you that don't make no damn sense. But okay. The name of the father of slave. So until the war was over, he was hid out, much like a small child would bring a stray dog home. These people are insane. It's been a minute since I read this. So until the war was over, he hid out, much like a small child would bring a stray dog home and hide it somewhere for fear of his parents would discover it being taken away. These people are fucking weirdos, dude. It's like you didn't realize at one point, maybe I should make this a little bit more believable. This is the Federal Writers Project, but and this is going to go on a government document a government website. Maybe I should not be that stupid, but no. This is what they was doing. Okay, so it says here as we go forward, the living quarters of the slaves were made of logs covered with mud, and the roof was covered with coarse boards upon which dirt about a foot in depth was placed. There were no floors except dirt or the bare ground. The furniture consisted of a small stove, and the beds were two boards extending from two walls, the extending ends resting on a peg driven into the ground. This would make a one-legged bed. Yes, these niggas just put a whole story together about a one-legged bed. The two boards were covered crossways with more boards, and the slaves slept on these boards or upon the dirt floor. There were no blankets provided for them. For food, the slaves received plenty of meat, potatoes, and whatever could be raised. Ain't that funny? I thought we received scraps from the table. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't believe anything in this document, but you ain't gonna stick to that part. That's a good chance for you to shit on us right there. You've been shitting on us the whole time, like one would, like a stray dog would shit on the ground. You know what I'm saying? You've been doing it this whole time. Why wouldn't you go ahead and do it there? That tells me that story must not have been as prominent, because if it was the truth as prominently so, they damn sure would have shitted on us with it, right? Okay. I'm just gonna throw that out there. They damn sure would have took the time to use that. Yeah, we gave you scraps like chicken ass and horse nuts. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. He's sticking to it. All right, sticking to the whatever. The narrative. All right, let's keep going. If the master had plenty to eat, man, my mouth is dry. Ice ain't melting fast enough. if if the master had plenty to eat, so did the slaves. But if food was not plentiful for the master, the slaves had less to eat. Ah, okay. Only one of the three Wamble boys joined the Southern Army. I don't know which one. You figure that out. Only one of the three Wamble boys joined the Southern Army. Until the war was over, the other two boys, whoever they are, refused to go to war, hid out in the surrounding woods and hills. The only time the Reverend's father left the farm was to attend his master Billy. Now we got a first name, Billy, his master. Is that a Wamble? Is that a Westbrook? I don't know. His name is Billy. The time that you could put a first name with a last name, you don't. All right. His master Billy, when he was in the hospital recovering from wounds received in battle. Wamble was a wagon maker, and he made two or three wagons, which usually took about 6 months. Then he hitched teams to them and went north to Missouri, Kansas, and Arkansas, and kept going until he had sold wagons and teams, keeping one wagon and team. What the hell is a team? With which to return home. Sometimes the master would be gone for a period of 9 to 12 months. During his absence, the Reverend's grandfather was in charge of the farm. The grandmother of Reverend Wamble was a full blooded African. Yeah, a full blooded African Negro. Ah, okay, okay. Whoever she is, the grandmother of Reverend Wamble, okay, is a full blooded African Negro. Brought to this country as a slave at 17 years of age. Okay. Now, since we don't have dates, names, time frames, or anything to corroborate this, we're just gonna go with it. But yeah, at 17 years of age. But also, you got to think about this: if she was brought here at 17 years of age, she would have a whole lot of African words to remember, right? It's pretty impossible to make you forget your African words at age 17, isn't it? Anyways, let's keep going. Yeah, yeah. Let's keep going. So you think some are real and some are fake? I don't even know what you're talking about. Some real, some what are real and some what are fake. Did what did he say? It was mine too. That's why I said that was sarcasm. I'm just reading above to see what you were saying. It says that in mine too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. You might be innocent. I mean, I don't know what you're asking. I want to go. What's up, on code? I didn't see you up in there. What's happening on code? What's up, Gia? I didn't see you up in there. POW, I see you down there, Jen Jen. But yeah, 17 years she spoke English. Yeah. Where's the African in there? That's too old and quickly lose her language. Exactly. Yeah, way too old. At 17, it wouldn't have been before 1808. It's hard to really tell because they didn't really give any dates. The date that they gave is for one person, which was 1859, saying Reverend Wamble was born in 1859, but Reverend Wamble's grandmother is who they said was a full-blooded African off the boats and came here at 17 years of age. So it's possible if he was born in 1859, his grandmother, if you go back 40 years, 50 years or so, could be before then. But she still would have been 17 according to this. And again, I don't believe nothing in this document at all. But we're gonna go with it because it's in the government, it's got my family's name in it. All right. And this should be a primary source of lies. But yeah. She definitely was 17 though, right? That's what they say. That's what they say. She was 17 years of age. But I don't believe nothing in this document. So let's keep going. It says she was a very large and strong woman and was often hired out to do man's work. So think about that. You didn't put her to work on your field. You got her going different places. And okay, let's keep going. Slaves were forbidden to have papers in their possession, and since they were forbidden to read papers, hardly any slaves could read or write. There never was an occasion or need to do these things. It was not known that the Reverend's grandmother could read and write until after the Civil War. The Reverend, I'm sorry, remembers his grandmother bringing an old newspaper to his hideout during the Civil War late at night after the Wamble family had retired and making a candle from fried meat grease and a cord string, which made a very tiny light. She placed some old blankets over the wall so that no light could be seen through this cracks in the hut. She would then place a paper as near as possible to the light without burning it and read the paper. It was never discovered where or how she learned to read and write. Um, said, but mine has first and last names. That's what I was asking. I just got here, but my family is in. One, I don't, unless you want to come up to this panel and show me that your family's got a first and last name on a document. I don't believe you. I'm gonna tell you that flat out. I don't believe you, and everybody in this chat is gonna tell you they don't believe you. If you want to come and prove us wrong, you're more than welcome to come and prove us wrong. You would love to? All right, we'll send you the invite. Show me what document you got with your family members coming from Africa. And not to say that there isn't any. I just don't trust anybody that say they got them. That's how much many of y'all lie that say they got them. It's 99% of y'all lie that say you got African paperwork. And I almost want to say 100% because I've only seen maybe one person, maybe, produce any kind of census form that said the word Africa on it. So yeah, I would love to see that. You said let you in. I sent you a request. Feel free to come on up. Say he didn't mention the country either. So he's gonna show you African paperwork. Exactly. Yeah. You got the paperwork, come show it. Said we need a ship manifest. Yeah, I'd rather have a ship manifest, but I already know you ain't gonna have that. So I'll at least take a little census document, some kind of birth record, something. All right, just send it to you. We gonna see. We gonna see. If you got it, let me do it this way. There you go. Now it says invite sent. Why you can't join? You should be able to join unless you're playing games. Oh, now you can't join. Ah, okay. I got the paperwork, y'all. Damn, I can't press this accept button. Damn, I was really gonna show y'all some shit. Come on now. Don't be one of the 99 percenters today now. No, I never said I was African. I thought you said you have African paperwork, bro. Didn't you say your first people said their name was African? Hold on. Are we recanting our statements here now? Are we recanting? Are we recanting? Didn't he say he or she, whatever. Say they have African. Let's scroll back up. Let's scroll back up. I would love to. I said, come to show your African paperwork. You said I would love to. So I just got here, but my family is in it and it tracks. Oh, you're saying your family is in the what you're saying is your family is in the slave narratives, not in Africa. You saying your family is in the slave narratives and you got the slave narratives of your family? Is that what you're saying? I think that's what they talking about. We might be a little mistaken. Because you're kind of putting in partial sentences. Okay, there you go. Okay. You put partial sentences in, so it's kind of, and we may have read it during the time I was saying something about full blown Africans. So I don't know. But okay, so I get what you're saying. And we apologize for being harsh on you. As of right now, we drop pretty large hammers down on trolls in this space because this space is for learning for real. But as far as the narratives, whether they're true or not, I haven't read them all. I have read 3 or 4 others, and I will say they sounded just as asinine as this. So I haven't read this entire thing because after the other 3 sounded pretty asinine, I wasn't gonna go through the rest of them. You feel me? It was I pretty much kind of put it through there. McLean, huh? McLean was a I got a we'll do. It's gonna be a different McLean though, but still, just that surname is why is this thing tripping? Y'all see how all of a sudden my y'all can't see I'm pushing the button, but my keyboard won't go away, so I can see what's fucking behind it. Come on now, if y'all don't get y'all shit together, man. Anyways, Justice McLean. I just wanted to show you that Justice McLean. Uh, I don't know if that has anything to do with your folks, but he was a prominent justice during 1857. And to be honest, he could have been a melanated person too. 1857 would have been around 1859, around the time Wamble was shot. That would have been when we was in power in some of them areas as well too. But so as far as the slave narrative for your folks in particular, I'd have to read it to see if it makes sense. It's just one thing I would tell you as you go through and read it, see if it's making sense to you or if it sounds hella absurd like this. Now, if you just got in here and you missed the 50 whippings that was talked about in this document absurdly, and the times they liken us to dogs and animals, and the never use them never using first names and all this other stuff. It just already shows how asinine this whole document is, or at least this particular narrative. So when they talk about them being full-blown Africans, I'm not gonna believe that either. You know what I'm saying? So as far as yo folks, you'd have to read that and have discernment. And what I might do after I go through this, I might skim through if McLean is in here. I might skim through it for a second, give you a slight breakdown. Let's keep going through this bullshit though, real quick. She learned how to read and write. They don't know. Okay. If a young, good looking, husky Negro Now somebody's getting a little bit too feeling, and that it's like they've been drinking this whole time. Now they feeling that zesty spirit, and I'm sure it's a man writing this. If a young, good-looking, husky Negro was trustworthy, the family would make him the driver of the family carriage. They would dress him in the best clothes obtainable and with a silk finished beaver skin hat. The driver sat in the seat on top of a on the top and towards the front of the carriage. He was compelled to stay on this seat when waiting for any of the family that might be driving, regardless of the weather or the length of time what he would wait. The mail was carried in the same kind of vehicle with Negro drivers. In each town, there was a certain rack at which this small carriage. Now, think about this. This is a slave narrative. Is Mr. Rambo one of these Negro drivers? He just talking about this, like they just talking. They just started going off in random stories. Yeah, if a husky Negro was real husky, we would place him in the finest of the silks. Ooh, like get your shit. Stop, nigga. You been over here fantasizing this whole time on this damn document. Okay. The mail was carried the same kind of way the Negro. Now you got I'm talking about the mail carriers of Negroes, whatever. All right. Let's keep going. The designated stop was made. Upon nearing the rack and coming to a stop, the driver would blow a bugle call, which could be heard for miles around. The people hearing this bugle would come and get their mail. The Reverend remembers that several of the drivers froze to death during the cold winters. If you don't quit, man, as you can tell, it's a bunch of horror stories that he can come up with. How many horror stories of killing niggas can I come up, killing, unaliving and whipping niggas can I come up with? You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what's going on. You said we got to unblock block your page for you to come in the box. Where was that? Were you on the other account that I blocked? I think we trying to piece things together. I don't even know how to do that from right here. To be honest, I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah, I don't even know how to get to my block list while I'm live, to be honest. Somebody might. If any of my mods are in here, if y'all know how to unblock somebody, you can try to unblock them. But if y'all don't, I don't. I know how to do it after I get off the live stream though. Why would they call it narrative and not history? Uh well, technically, it's supposed to be a narrative because it's supposed to be the words coming directly from the slave themselves. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's why they say it's a narrative. But it sounds like a narrative is somebody's. You would be writing down their words, right? Your narrate their narration of what happened. But you got this person saying what the Reverend. Yeah, the Reverend said that blah blah blah, and he also remembers blah blah blah, and he told me blah blah. Okay, you know, so it's not really much of a narrative, but that's what they're trying to say it is. So let's keep going here. You say you've been researching this 10 years. You've been researching slave narratives for 10 years? Or you talking about Indian shit? Um, I don't know why you can't come up on this page unless you must be blocked on that page. I mean, on the or banned on this page, or you only got one follow, but usually you come up. But all right, so men would take him down, carefully saving the silk beaver skin hat for the other drivers. Since the slaves had no votes, they had no interest in politics when they became free and knew nothing about political conditions other than that after the Civil War they were free and had to vote. As a boy, the Reverend remembers seeing the white and black soldiers marching on election day. Now it's pretty messed up because, as we know, they've thrown this thing in here about voting. But remember, the real Reverend Wamble was unalive. And if you don't, oh yeah, Mr. Hypnotic, if you don't believe what the hell we talking about here because you missed it, Mr. Wamble was unalived by the KKK in 1871. So it's kind of impossible for him to be used as a narrative. Abraham Wamble, a colored preacher, taken out by 60 or 50 masked men and shot in 1871. So when we say, and this is also corroborated in the Ku Klux Klan book right here, talking about the Wambles being shot for voting in 1869. So it's not that I'm saying that this is fake. We know for a fact it's fake because he was unalive. So and they're even referencing voting in his narrative, but not necessarily about him voting, just about the whole thing about you had to go vote. And it kind of a sinister thing to do, knowing good and well the KKK shot him, knowing good and well the KKK typically hold positions in office in government, especially in times like back in the 1930s, and knowing damn well they were some of these people that likely wrote some of these narratives, picking out who they wanted to use, which stories they wanted to use. So yeah, you may think your people, as I go to read yours, and you may think you've done some history and some research, but my folks was unalive. They should not have a narrative. Let's go back. The politicians would always tell the Negroes. Now you can understand real quick though why it sounds absurd. That's why I painted the story, and he wasn't here, he or she. They wasn't here in the beginning, but that's why I painted the story in the beginning. So y'all can see that one, he was unalive. This the whole thing is kind of absurd, blah, 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 this and then the third, whatever. But then we get to here, and you see it's even more absurd when you hear the story. But see, I also want y'all to realize too, old boy down there, he would believe this story in a sense, right? In a sense, the feeling I'm getting from the conversation I've seen him in the chat, he or she in the chat just so far, I would think that they would believe this story. And that goes to show you discernment is not there. And I'm not talking just shit like that, but like we got to be able to know when we're reading bullshit. I don't. I should know that I'm reading this bullshit, even that this is bullshit, even without knowing that my family member was unalive, because there's no first names used. There's a bunch of BS, all these whippings and random shit that's going on. You know what I'm saying? The story's all over the place. It's just not something that a slave would be talking about. This damn sure sounds like a YT man's wet dream of beating a bunch of people. How many people can I make this story of beating a bunch of people? You think a slave, after a person has been freed, and you got to think this person, this Federal Writers Project was done in 1936. Anybody at this time would have only been a slave, and you were at the tail end of it. Let me do the math so I can give you the right. In 1936 minus 1865, you'd have to be at least 71 years of age at the end of slavery to be a 1-year-old. So that means if you was a 10-year-old to where you can somewhat remember something, you would be 80 years of age and above. And if a 80-year-old is not going to remember that much from their 10-year-old days, if you was 20 years old and you were in your 90s, it's possible you can remember some stuff back then. But even then, you know, some of these stories are just crazy, 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 crazy. That's why I say some of these people they'll read these things and they'll just go with it, and you gotta have discernment. The politicians would always tell the Negroes that what was good for them, and making it appear that it was for their best interest and they should vote for him, always giving them the dessert first and making them think that they were on the level no matter what the meal might be or what the hardship. Now, how does he know all this about voting? Again, these people wouldn't have been doing too much voting because you'd have been barely between the ages of 10 to 20 as a so-called Negro supposed slave or a slave with some kind of privileges. What do you mean? What's up, Sean? Sister, that's Sunshine. Yeah, my bad. What's up, Sunshine? You wouldn't be remembering all this voting shit going on and stuff that's going on around this time. You'd be too young. 10-year-old, you ain't gonna be voting. You damn sure wouldn't be knowing about it. 15 years old, you come on now, right? You ain't thinking about it. But okay, let's keep going. One instance, after the Negroes were forbidden to vote, they marched in a body to the polls and demanded a Democratic ballot and were then permitted to vote. This is on the tail end after 1865. Says Reverend Wamble was 27 years of age before he saw and read his first newspaper. He lived with the Wambles for 20 years after the war, when his father, then in partnership with another man, purchased 40 acres of land. He attended his first school for a period of 2 months. Only in 1871 and 1872, the government built a school on his father's farm, and it was taught by a missionary. Missionary schools, even though I don't believe none in this document. The school term was for a period of 3 years each year. The Reverend attended this school for 7 years. Now, I want y'all to realize he never said the name of the school. If there's one thing you will remember at old age, is where you went to school. You usually, that's something that's burned into your mind, usually because you go there so much. It's a second home, right? Each and every one of your schools, you never forget that. So in his narrative, he didn't want to point that out. Yeah, we were the such and such, the John Marshall Bears. That's my school. Yeah, we were the this, we were the that. You know what I'm saying? Said, damn, you ripping this story all apart, right? um. So yeah. Why wouldn't they put that in there? You'd remember familiar places exactly. And we just got through listening to a slave narrative, not a slave. I'm sorry. Old YT actually. Let's do it like this. Hold on. Oh my bad. I hadn't even been looking over here to YouTube. Yeah, I got to catch up on my YouTube, fam. I hate it. I moved opened up my TikTok window so I can see if the person wanted to join, and I didn't pull back up my restream window. Let me show this, and then I'm a I'm gonna get to y'all's messages here, y'all's chat. Let's see.
I was a person before I married. The trailer. Sneakily shot him is what they say. Which were better to plow with, horses or mules? Oh, horses and shoes and everything.
Hold on, let me.
He said it was just too much trouble trying to pick both of them. He didn't care for it. Anybody in the dormitory have? Four. Four. Which floor were you on? The third. Third.
She can. Now I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but you got this YT lady on here, and I don't remember the spot that it was in, but she's at this school in Oklahoma, and she said there was so many Indians, full blooded. She never seen them so black, curly hair, black, full blooded Indians, black. Right? Um, that's a narrative. That's a real narrative. She can remember the dorm room and the school and the floor she was on in the dorm room in school. Okay? So yeah, for this person to just be like, "Oh, we went to the school for 3 months of the year, blah blah blah." You never even say the school. Come on, man. This whole thing is just idiotic. She definitely says her school. I'm gonna get rid of that because I don't really have the spots that I want to. I need to record those. I got them recorded, but I need to put the times down for it. You said Brianna and so it's saying we went to the same high school. We different. Oh wait, hold on. What did Brianna say? Are you from OKC? Yeah. Nigga said, yeah, we okay, yeah, we both are. Yeah. I went. She said we went to the same high school. Yeah. I'm a John Marshall, the old school, John Marshall. But yeah, I'm from Oklahoma City. I grew up, born, raised there. I moved out to Dallas in my early 30s. Been out here almost 8, 9 years since then. Yeah, them Bears. And I ain't gonna lie, man, my high school was cool, man. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I had good times in my little old high school, little John Marshall Bears. You know what I'm saying? Good times. We won a couple state championships and shit. You know, it was cool. So my great grandma was born in Tulsa, OKC, 1923. Oh wow, that's during them Greenwood days. I'm sorry, Greenwood days. Yeah, that's what's up. What's happening, Saturn? So okay, so let's finish up. What time is it? 7:20. I got a podcast. It's a late night podcast to go film for a client. But that's a little bit later. Reverend Wamble was 37 years of age before he saw whatever went through that. In 1880, he married for the first time. His first wife died in Memphis, Tennessee. By this marriage, we never knew her name. We're not gonna say that. By this marriage, there were four children, whatever their names are. On February 1st, 1982, the Reverend, with his two surviving children, whoever those two are, because I don't know what the four were. So, two, four, whatever, some children, right? Uh, all entered school at a college in Little Rock, Arkansas. Which college? I don't know. A college. Okay. One of his daughters unalived in the third year of her school, whatever school that was. But the other graduated from the normal school and was a teacher for several years, whatever normal school that was. Uh, at the present time, and whichever child that was, because we don't know which out of the four, of the two of the four it was, and whatever. Was it a man? Was a boy? Girl? I don't know. Whatever. At the present time, she was married to a minister in Louisiana and is the mother of 10 children and is a nurse, whatever her name is. The three oldest children, whoever they are, have degrees, and the others are expected to do the same. I thought two of them are unalive. I don't know. I'm confused with the whole damn story at that point. Well, we're gonna keep going. Um, the Reverend married his second wife in 1894, whatever her name is, because we don't know what the first wife's name was either. She unalived also, whoever she was, by this marriage with 9 children born. Oh, okay. 4 children and 9 children. Okay. The Reverend has been in the ministry for 37 years, seeing the need of making more money. Two of his sons, whoever those two are, came to Gary, Indiana to work in 1924. Now both are working in the post office. 2 years later, he came to Gary for the same reason, and after working 2 years in the coke plant, was laid off due to the depression. The youngest daughter, whoever she is, of the Reverend, by his second marriage, out of those 9 children, whoever they were, by whoever she was, graduated from a college in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, whatever the name of that was, and is now teaching in New York City, someplace. Although the Reverend is advanced in years, he was quite active and healthy. He says he has a small pension and is just waiting until it is time to pass to the next world. He has 6 children and 17 grandchildren living from whoever. And as the Reverend remembered the South, none of the white people worked at manual labor. None of the white people worked at manual labor, even though I can find newspaper articles of indentured servants who did manual labor in the newspapers. Yeah, but y'all would still think this is, this is real. And if that's the case, are they all fake, or some are real, or some are some fake? How come you didn't listen to my answer when I said earlier you need to read that shit and figure it out your goddamn self? Like, what don't you understand it? I think that's why I blocked you the first time, because you're not making sense. You're really seeming like you really are being an ass. I literally said, nigga, read it and figure it out. If it sounds absurd like this, maybe it's fake. If it sounds real, and if yours is real, does that make this real too? No, it doesn't. It doesn't discount that this is a bunch of bullshit. Goodness. Peace, Copper Chippewa. These people are weird, dude. But usually sat under a shade tree. They usually clerks, but of a tradesman. So now we're that was it. That was it. So now we're on to the story of a child born in slavery, Mr. Watson. So okay, let's humor myself real quick for a slight moment. Goodness gracious. Hell of a scroll. Sir McLean is not in here. There's no McLean in here, and this isn't the only slave narratives that's out there, book. But there ain't no McLean in this bitch. Man, hold up. How come I can't use my damn voice? Hold up. Hold on, y'all. Y'all see right here where my X is, right? Right below this X is damn where y'all know me. I love to talk and say what I need to say instead of typing it. Ain't this a goddamn bitch? Why the hell would it be grayed out right now? I'm telling you, I just got this iPad and it's starting to piss me the fuck off. Okay. But all right, let me just type slave narratives. See how much I had to do? You see how long that took, man? Goddamn slave typing and shit. All right, slave narratives. Now let's see if I see a McLean over here. Isom, Abbott, Bird, whatever, Fur, Jones, Styles, Young, Woodson, Boogie, Allen, Young, North Carolina, Jacks, Anderson, Young, Durant, Hunter, Quallenbaum, Young, Duhan, King, Riles, Young, Wilson. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the hell yours is at. This is volume one, volume two, volume three. Maybe you have to go inside volume three. We got a Mitchell, we got a McCrae, we got a Maxwell, got a Kemp. Combined interviews. Yeah, I don't see no McLean. These niggas just be wasting my goddamn time. Not just playing. It could be in one of these. There's different volumes. There's a lot of different volumes. So unless you know the volume, there's a WordPress document that's not going to be in the government archives, but this is in North Carolina Narratives Word. No, North Carolina Narratives.wordpress.com. That's a WordPress website. They ain't even paying for the damn. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, wait a minute. The McLean Slave Narrative, 1937, Federal Writers Project. Jim McLean, born 16. Let me see if it'll show me the actual right. James Turner McLean, page 82. So what are we gonna do? I want the whole PDF. So I ain't gotta do all that. Page what, 82? Let's do this. don't think that's the run. It just kind of starts out of nowhere. Okay. Subject James Turner McLean. Daisy May. Okay. North Carolina. My name is James Turner McLean. I was born in Harnett County near Cape Fear River in the Creek section of February 1858. So if he was born in 1858, the longest he would have been a slave was by 7 years old. So would he be a slave at no? You don't put a slave on the field at age 7, 5, 6, 7, right? But okay, if y'all want to go with that part first, I hope he said he wasn't one, he wasn't a slave. Ain't the slave narratives? If he wasn't a slave, why is he in the slave narratives? Ain't the slave narratives? Am I not tripping? Ain't this slave narratives? Or is this just some narratives? Now you got me wondering. Hold on, let me do this. I don't want to lose that spot. It took a lot of scrolling. Yeah, it's a slave narrative. Why would they put somebody who was never a slave in the slave narratives? That should be your first thing to say. This is some bullshit, to be honest. But I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm reading the same. Are you reading it right now? Let me see. So yeah, that'd be my first thing, especially at age 7. But okay, let's keep going. I belong to Taylor Hugh McLean, and he never was married. The plantation was between Bussy's Creek and the Cape Fear River, the edge of about 75 yards from where I live now. The place where I live belongs to me. Way back, it belonged to the Boldens. The Boldens came from Scotland, and so did the McLeans. There were about 500 acres in this plantation, and Marshall Hugh McLean had about 50 slaves. The slaves lived in quarters, and Marster lived in the big house, which was his home. Marster took good old took care of his darkies. All right. He did not allow anybody to whip either. Ain't that kind of funny? They kind of going into this whipping thing kind of early, just like they did with the one for ours, right? They said, hey, there was some people that didn't whip, but some people whip. Let's keep going. He did not allow anybody to whip them either. We had good food, clothes, and place to sleep. My father was Jim McLean, and my mother was named Charlotta McLean. My grandmother was named Jane. Now, did you ask this question? Let me see. The Boldens came from Scotland, and so did the McLeans. And this dude's name is James Turner McLean. Okay, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. My grandmother was named Jane. I called my sister, I'm gonna call my mother Sissy, and called my grandmother Mammy in slavery time at age 7. Uh, which I mean, you would say some names, but they did not have me to do any heavy work, just tending to the calves, colts, and going to the post office. You send a 6 to 7 year old to the post office, and you have a 6 or 7 year old tending to colts and calves. All right. The post office. I mean, think about how big and tall a 7 year old is, and that's at the end of slavery. So that's at the end of slavery. He was 7. So let's go back to age 5 and 6. Do you really think a 5 and a 6 year old was taking care of colts and calves? Y'all see, he said, yeah, why not? Yeah, they just go with the stories, y'all. Didn't I tell y'all they just go with the stories? See, the person that wrote my story was so asinine, it just lets you know blatantly how asinine it was. It was like he had to be the worst writer out of the project, right? Which shows that precedence for how these writers are, right? So then you get to these other ones, and then you start seeing these stories, and You're picking apart little things because some people are going to write the stories and make them believable to a degree. But a 5 year old in the South, yeah, yeah, sir, sir or ma'am, you must not have ever had a 5 year old. You must not have ever had a 5 year old in your life. Yeah, kindergarten. Yeah, that's like just barely getting into kindergarten, y'all. Like just like preschool, kindergarten age. Can barely fucking use a crayon, but you got them out here with calves and goddamn coats, and this nigga says, "Yeah, that's about right in the South." I told y'all these niggas will believe anything. That's why they wrote this. For niggas like you. You gotta think. You gotta think. You needed me to come read this? They needed me to come read this. And what did I tell this nigga in the beginning? How about you read it, have some discernment, and see if it makes sense to you? My kid was 5 washing dishes. Washing dishes is putting a dish in water, taking a rag around it, having a cult which can kick your ass or run you the fuck over based upon your size, and taking care of fucking large ass animals is not washing goddamn dishes. These people are fucking crazy. These people are crazy. You gotta be mental. He wasn't in the field though. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's keep going. Now we into it. Let's keep going. He was out there and he was, and think about this. Do you think a 5 year old can walk all the way, however long it takes, because it damn sure wasn't around the corner, to the post office and back? Tell me the last time you found a 5 year old that knew directions around the corner and or up the street and can get the fuck back. I have never in my entire life seen if a 5 year old goes out in the street right now by himself, somebody's calling the fucking cops. Are you a moron? Come on, man. Y'all got to be we got to be better than this. Let's keep going. The post office was and a 5 and 6 year old. The post office was at Mr. Saxton's, and we called it Saxton's Post Office on the Raleigh and Fayetteville Road. He knew where the roads were named too. Of course, in later years, you can call roads, right? But do you really think a 5 year old that lets you know he had to go up some roads? Okay, 5 year olds going around roads, huh? Hmm. The stage run was on this road and brought mail to this place. This post in my yard is part of a stagecoach axle. You see it? Yes, sir. That's what it is. I got it at Fayetteville when they were selling the old stagecoach. We bought the axle and wheel and made a cart. We got that stuff about 1870. So that's not slavery times. My father bought it. He gave $12 for just the wheel and axle. This was after we had to look at the time, taken the ironclad oath and became more civilized. We were daresome to be caught with a paper book or anything if we were trying to learn to read and write. I mean, 5, 6 year old trying to learn to really read and write though. You know what I'm saying? Getting caught outside with books. Okay. Don't get me wrong. We've put books in the hands of 3 year olds and 4 year olds and 5 year olds, and there are some prodigies that have started to read around those times. But okay, let's keep going. We had to have a pass, or we had to have a pass to go around on, or the patrollers would work on us. So the patrollers were picking up 5-year-olds because they didn't have paperwork. Do you think the patrollers were going up to 5-year-olds and asking them for their freedom papers, Mr. Hypnotic? Do you really need me to read this? Do you really believe this? He was like, we opened a church. Just throwing out random shit. Tourette syndrome now. I haven't disrespected anyone. Sir, I don't know what you were saying earlier, but you were saying some weird stuff earlier. But well, you said something enough for me to make you block you the first time. You may not have disrespected, but you really believe this shit? Oh, I didn't see you say that you was a female. I didn't read every single thing that you sat there and read. She's like, last time I'm a female. You may have threw it in there one time. Don't mean that I seen it the first time. Obviously, you don't have a you know how somebody gonna get mad at that? You ain't got no avatar. Your name is Hypnotic saying, I'm a female. You gonna get mad at a nigga. It said not Tourette's. These people is crazy. All right. So the patrollers was going around asking 5-year-olds for their paper, hounding them if they didn't have it. Marstles gave his Negroes a pass for 12 months. He sent his timber to Wilmington and worked timber at the other places, so he gave his slaves yearly passes. Then, when the war was up, me and him went to the post office at 7 years old, and he got the paper. All the niggers were free. Now, did you really need me to read this when you seen? Do you really think your ancestor would have said it like that? Think about it. Think about it. Do you think your ancestors would have said the hard ER? Or would they said Negroes? Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Okay. We stopped by the way home at a large sassafras tree by the side of the road where he always stopped to read, and he read and told me I was free. Okay. Uh no, C3, I blocked him. Her or whatever, yeah, her. I forgot what she said earlier that made me block her. But yeah, it was something that was said that made me block her. I can't remember. I had to scroll all the way the hell back up. Uncle says she has tears in her eyes. No white folks had a ball writing these narratives. I'm telling you, everybody can see the fakeness except for the person that told me to read this. They literally said all the niggers were free. Come on now. Do you think your folks would have referred to themselves as niggers? I'm about to get restriction just saying it so many times. We stopped, by the way, and after the post office at 7 years old, he told me I was free and let my 7-year-old ass off. All right. I did not know what it was or what it meant. We came on to the house where my mother was, and I said, Sissy, we is free. Now think about this, y'all. He took the 7-year-old to the post office and told him he was free. He didn't tell the mother they was free. And he had to go. I just had to walk away real quick because it's just the idiocy of it all. The idiocy of it all. You know what I'm saying? I had to read this to let you know. This is why I didn't read any more slave narratives. This is exactly why after the fourth or fifth slave narrative, I said, you know what? I could paint this with a broad brush. I could do that. I could paint it with a broad brush. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to waste my goddamn time on all these fucking slave narratives. No, no. Hey, y'all. Hey, remember where did Tariq said, hey, where did Tariq said he learned where the Indians did indigo? That nigga said slave narratives. Tariq learned indigo from slave narrative. Oh, he can't. He don't have discernment to know what the fuck is going on either. Then, all right? That's your history major. Hold on, hold on. My mic keeps falling. I need to grip this thing a little harder. That's what she said. But everyone mentioned is in my family tree. That don't mean that they didn't fake this story up. You think because the characters are so was mine, right? Abraham Wamble was in my family tree too. Does that make the story true? No. God damn, you still you see how hard they're fighting for it, guys? How hard they're fighting for white people's words about they folks. This is how hard they're fighting for white people's words about their folks. But when your folks tell you you're Indian, you give that bull. You won't even give that much of a fucking thought. Y'all niggas is mental. Mental. Now that I think about it even further, you're fighting this hard for a fake ass, dumbass slave narrative. But when your parents and grandparents tell you you a fucking Indian, you sit here and look like a dumbass. No, I'm FBA. I had to have no abyss. People are fucking crazy. You needed me to read this? Everybody's like going. Okay. Let me get back to this. Goodness gracious. I did not know what it was or what it meant. Okay, he went and told his mommy and his sissy, we's free. I don't know what it means because he said it literally. I don't know what it means at 7 years old, but we's free. The negress is free. And a 7-year-old using the word niggers. Think about that too. A 7-year-old using the word niggers. Come on, man. You fighting for this shit? I called my mammy and they say mammy. I called my mammy and threw my arms around her neck and said, Mammy, we're free. I thought you just said you didn't know what the fuck that meant. How are you so happy about something that you did not know what it meant? You needed me to read this. This is what I'm going to keep saying over and over again every time I find some stupid shit. You needed me to read this. So I see what it is because you have African in yours and you think it's all fake. If you think that's the only reason why this is fake, god damn, I don't know what you had to be on the shortest bus. It must have been one row on that motherfucking bus. One row on that bus, nigga. You and your for you and your dumbass thoughts, nigga. They didn't put you on the bus with nobody. They said, nah, nigga, we can't run this stupid ass shit off on nobody. No. Are you clowning me because my people said African? Oh, no. We ain't going to let this stupidity run up off on nobody. We got a one row bus for you and them dumbass thoughts. Get your ass on here and take your ass some ADHD medicine and shut the fuck up. Okay. Why the insults? Because you just insulted my folks too, right? We on that same energy. We ain't no damn Africans. I did not know that it was what it meant. Oh yeah, I didn't know what it meant, but I ran around my mammy and said, "Mammy, we is free. Mammy, we is free. What it mean, mammy? What it mean?" oh my God! I did. How did I call that? No. And you needed me to read this. You needed me to read this. He threw his hands around his mama, his mammy, super happy about something he did not know, and then asked, "So what does it mean? It must be something good. We free." I'm crying. Oh my God. My God. My God. You know what? I'm glad these white folks wrote this dumb shit like this. Because if they would have made it more believable, they would have tricked us even more. But because YT folks are as stupid as they really are, this is what we get. We can catch them in all the stupidity while the sleep ones still stay asleep. While the sleep ones still stay asleep. Okay? Monsters was coming. I see you in there acting like a Karen now. Like I said, I can't remember what you said up there earlier that made me want to block you, but to make me want to block you, you said something. Okay. And then you said a couple of other things during this time as well. So I could care less about the Karen action. You wanted this read, so you really kind of brought this on yourself. Read mine. I can bring it up. I'll come up there. I'll show it. Now that we're reading it and going in on your ass, like, you sure you want me to read this? You must not know who I am because I'm gonna break this bitch down like a pound. All right. Marcus was coming in and he had the paper in his hand and was crying. He came to the door and called grandma and said, "You are free, free as I am, but I want you to stay on. If you go off with, you will perish. If you go off, you will perish. If you stay on now, the crop is planted and work it, we will divide." Marsters was crying and said, "I do not own you any longer." He told her to get the horn and blow it. It was a ram's horn. She blew twice for the hands to come to her house. They were working in the river, low ground, about a mile away, mile or more away. She blew a long horn. Then another monster told her to keep blowing. After a while, all the slaves come home. She had called them all in. Monsters met them at the gate and told them to put all the mules up. All the hoes and plows, that they were all free. We invited all to eat dinner. He had 5 women cooking. He told them all he did not want them to leave. A 7-year-old can remember all this. 5 women cooking. And I was like, okay. He told them all he did not want them to leave, but if they were going, they must eat before they left. He remembered all this shit. He said he didn't want anybody to eat at all. He wanted and and I remember the ham, eggs, chicken, and other good things we had at that dinner. Then after the dinner, he spoke to all of us and said, "You have nowhere to go, nothing to live on, but go out on my other plantation and build you some shacks." He gave them homes and did not charge any rent. He bought nails and lumber for them, but he would not build the houses. Some stayed with him for 15 years, some left. He gave them some cows to milk. He said the children must not perish. Marsters was a mighty good man, a feeling man. He cried when some of his slaves finally left him. Mother and father stayed till they got a place of their own. I waited on him as long as he lived. I loved him. I loved him as well as I did my daddy. He loved his slave master like his daddy. I drove for him and he kept me in his house with him. He taught me to be honest, to tell you the truth, and not to steal anything. Well, isn't that a great YT man? When freedom came, Marster gave us a place for a school building and furnished nails and gave the lumber for the floors. Boy, it's always these YT folks giving you all kind of stuff, ain't it? This must be one of them liberal white folks that wrote this one. One of them ones that wants to make it look like they're really giving to the people. There was one that I was reading. Which one was it? I can't remember, but that dude. Oh, What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? It's not really oh, it's called the proof of the slave. No, the proof of the Underground Railroad. Underground Railroad proof, facts, whatever. And it's like some narratives supposedly. And it's the same one white dude mostly over and over, and it's his letters, and he was like, yeah, and I helped them give them this, and I gave them some of this, and I sent them on their way, and when these Negroes came, I helped them out with it. I was like, oh, this ain't nothing but a YT man's dream to act like he done helped out a ton of niggas. This ain't, whatever. But this is what I feel this part is right here. They just trying to get that in real quick. She had married Jim McAllister at the Bluff Church, right at the lower part of the Averysboro battleground, where some of the last fighting between the North and the South was done. But a man by the name of George Miller, or of Harnett County, told him he knew a nigger who would teach the school. I'm just saying, still using the hard ER on there, but okay. He employed the nigger, okay, because this is a narrative, right? All right. Whose name was Isaac Brantley, to teach the school. He came from, and because this is his words, he called him like, it's almost like he's kind of confused. Like, it's the YT man writing for the dude, and he keeps forgetting that he's he's supposed to be writing in the black man's words. Yeah, he employed a nigger. I mean, wait a minute, a black man. Okay. Anyways, he came from Anderson's Creek in the lower part of Harnett County. He learned very little as a nigger. He read and let his like, come on now. Do you think your folks would have said the N word that many times with the hard ER? Come on. He would hold the book and spell and let us repeat the words after him without letting us see the book. He stayed there 2 months. Then a man by the name of Matthew Haywood Matthews, son of Henderson Matthews, came. They were white folks, but went for Negroes. Now, how come they use the Negroes right there, and then the other time they're using the hard ER? You got to ask these questions. You got to ask these questions. We can't accept these documents because it's a goddamn document. Come on now. That's why the hell I said have some goddamn discernment. Haywood teach there. He got the children started, and most of them learned to read and write. To be honest, I ain't never, still to this day, and even in modern times, I can't think of any documents I've ever seen of a black person, of our folks, so-called black, using the hard ER, writing it down or typing it down toward another one of us. I cannot think of any of those cases. That's how small it is. And we use the nigger word all the time. Right? We use that so damn much. And for this to be in here that many times, that should have been there's many red flags in here. But let's keep going. I saw the Yankees come through and Willis Cavalry, the Yankees took chickens and things, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and they gave us some things, but Willis Cavalry, I thought they was talking about the Yankees baseball. They're talking about the real Yankees. And I got a book that I haven't read yet by my guy, by my guy, American Ancestry Decoded. And I'm only refraining from reading it right now because I don't want to mess up my research. But I also want to include what I read through him. Where the hell is my damn? The indigenous origin of the Yankees. Oh yes, the indigenous origin of the Yankees by your boy American Ancestry Decoded. I bought that from him, and I do plan on reading through this. Talks about indigenous tribes, how the names got switched. We're talking about the Narragansetts. So yeah. I can't read. I'm gonna have to definitely read through this. Uh, he said, I don't want to. No ninjas use the hard ER. That's suspicious. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Couldn't help but saying that. Yeah, why you couldn't help but say, yeah. Exactly. We don't do that. We don't do that. When the Yankees, blah blah blah. Um, I do not know. Blah blah blah. Got his China pipe fixed, Daddy. I ain't. The rest of this little lands popped up. We ought not think back. We ought to think a lot of Abraham Lincoln and the other great men such as Booker T. Washington. Lincoln set us free. Slavery was a bad thing and unjust. It's like they just threw some talking points in toward the end right there. Yeah, the rest of this shit I don't really care about. Um, Neil's Creek, whatever. I thought I saw something. I was about to say, is that Creek Indians? Hell no. So yeah, like I personally, you won't catch me reading all of these slave narratives, and y'all see, there's a ton of them. There's several volumes, and I have yet to read one that it sounds believable, decently believable. You know what I'm saying? Yet to have read one that sounds decently really believable. So yeah, that's my thing on that. Plus, my guy was unalive even by the time that they came out. Now, for those who don't know, I have decided which documentary I'm gonna start with first. One that's not going to cost me any money. I'm probably still going to do I'm probably still going to do a GoFundMe or a fundraising thing to try to see if I can raise the funds for another documentary where we're going to fly out a bunch of people here to Dallas, get the interviews, and then also fly to certain locations. But to be honest, if my first documentary that I do, this which I'm about to tell you about, which I don't need to do as much traveling, if I can make enough profits off of it, it will springboard the rest of my documentaries, and I won't need to do anything because I'm not one of those people that's gonna be fundraising for documentaries just because I to get the money for it. But for those who don't know how much money it can cost quite a bit, mostly for the traveling. Now I already got the cameras, the lenses, the this, the that, the thirds, but the traveling to either places like locations like to go to Cahokia Mounds or to go to historic locations in Louisiana. Like if I was going to try to find the Monroe Mission School location, or to go to certain places, or to go to people who are prominent people who would agree to do interviews. That's all going to cost flights, and at least a one night stay at a hotel. I'm not going to stay no longer than that. Uh, at least on those kind of things. So each one could be two, three, 4, 5 grand per documentary just in the cost it takes to travel. So I'm gonna do a documentary that my first documentary I'm going to do is going to require less travel, so I don't need any funds. I don't need to do any kind of no kind of fundraising, and I don't need to do fundraising on the other ones. But I mean, at the same time, uh, do I want to spend 4 5K on doing a documentary? Not right now. Maybe in the future. Your boy got a little bread, but come on now. Uh, so but if I do this one right here, it could springboard the next ones. So this is the one I'm about to tell you about, and some of you all have already heard it. But that would be the goal. That's really my goal. Go ahead and do one documentary. Hopefully, I can get 200 people to stream it at $10 each, or $5. 200 people to stream it at $5 would give me five. Oh well, no, that's 1,000. No, I need more than that. I need 1,000 people. My bad. That's what, because I want to make about $5,000 to pay for the cost for the next one. So my goal is to get about 1,000, either 1,000 people to stream it at $5, or 500 people to stream it at $10. So that's kind of the pricing point I'm looking at for it. And I might offer some other kind of little incentives or whatever. But the goal would be to get the first one, it makes enough money to do the next one. Then that one makes enough money to do the next one, then the next one, and so on and so forth. Because we got to start telling these stories and we got to start putting them out on the main stage. Said $20. I know, but I don't want to go too high. You know what I'm saying? I know, and I know $20 ain't much. It ain't crazy, but I want to keep it, decently low for the folks. You know what I'm saying? I want this to be honest. Once I get to the point to where I'm a multi-millionaire off of either these or my inventions or my other bit or my businesses, the businesses would take a while to get to multi-millions. To be honest with you, unless I do films and my films go up. But which I do, some of y'all know I write films and shoot films. About to get back into shooting films. Almost done writing the film, but I also want to do the documentaries. Like this year is going to be my year of going hard. Me and my business partner, we done put tons of money in the cameras and equipment. And just so I can show you, I'll show y'all what kind of cameras we got. I got one that I'm using right now to shoot this, but I also got another one. I got two Black Magic 6K cameras, cinema cameras. All right. So I got two Black Magic 6K cinema cameras. One's a 6K Pro, one's a regular 6K. Um, so yeah, that's I got two of these Black Magic cinema camera 6Ks. And then we also got a Canon C70 cinema camera. We got a Canon C70 cinema camera. Yes, I know the price. With the price I could have paid for the goddamn documentary, but you got to get the cameras first. We also got a Canon C300 as well. C300 Mark II. Mark II. Canon C300 Mark II as well. So when I say, and we got an array of lenses, we got an array of all kind of other stuff, high quality audio, uh, everything you need for the most part to allow these films to go up and these documentaries to be on to get accepted on like Amazon, Tubi, hopefully, probably, possibly Hulu and others if I can really get them there. But what I was gonna say is, what I was gonna say is, um, so oh yeah. So the one that the documentary I'm gonna start with, the tentative name right now, if I don't change it, is called Real Roots. So I wanted to play on that whole roots because people hate roots. So that's why we need to expose the fake roots with the real roots. Okay, but also real roots because our real roots is grounded here on the American soil. And this one is going to be a film encompassing a documentary encompassing our cultural continuity from indigenous times in recorded books and things all the way up until today. And it's going to show all the things we do. So my idea is when I need people for interviews, but the reason why this is less cost is because we all still do these practices. So I don't really need to find people in different cities that do this practice to get interviews. I can find people in my own cities that do herbs, roots. Well, actually, I'm gonna try to hit up original Haley on here. She said she would do it, but I kind of put her on the spot. I'm gonna just double check with her. But she seemed like she was pretty cool to do it. And she's in Houston. That's just a 6 hour drive. So I can go out to Houston, get her interview. And then as far as like this one where they're talking about rhyming and chanting in that yellow, I can find niggas that rap here, you know what I'm saying? As far as other things like music, where we talk about us having musical instruments, the saxophone, uh, trumpets. We had trumpets, not saxophone, trumpets and flutes. We had trumpets, we had flutes, we had drums, we had shakers and all that. And so I can go get interviews and also local music venue shots of people showing that cultural continuity is still here, showing that we're still using these things, showing that we still do these practices, showing that we still make baskets. Might find me a little basket weaver. Uh, Showing that we do a lot of these things that I had went through earlier. So I wanted to kind of touch on. I'm about to get off of here because I am about to get going to my podcast. I got a podcast client shooting a late 9:30 podcast. Um, I said, Looks like y'all going back. Well, Hypnotic stayed up in here, so I guess I didn't shoot off too bad when I was talking all that shit. Hopefully, it looks like y'all going back and forth about some important stuff. So hopefully, y'all making some ways for her from a lie to the real, aka truth. Exactly. You know what? Real talk. Right. We ain't went through no ethnogenesis at all, and that's what we got to get. Yes, let's definitely take some scripted talking points there. If I ever heard, that's what's up, bro. I just graduated from film school. I have the Sony FX6. Hey, we just sold the FX6. I'm working on my filmmaking journey and want to tell our American history. That's what's up. Tying Ram. Yeah, if you got an FS6, man, if you willing to do some shooting, if you just want to shoot alongside and be part of the project, man, you more than welcome. You have to come to me or go where I go. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be able to. Well, if I was to get funding from the folks through whatever, then yeah, we would use the funding to fly you out wherever. Not that I need anybody, but I wouldn't mind having somebody if you wanted to work on the project with us. Um, in most cases, I got the cameras and tripods. We're gonna set them up. We're gonna make it rock. But it will be easier to have somebody film me, to be honest, because I will like in some of my documentaries, I do plan on like being in the camera as I'm on location. And if I'm gonna have to do that myself, I'm gonna have to put my camera there on the tripod. I'm gonna have to. I got me a wireless connection to where I can see it. But when you're trying to film yourself, you run into a lot of issues. If you want to change the settings and all this other stuff, you kind of gotta. It's kind of a pain in the ass going back and forth to the camera and shit like that. But so it's something to think about if you do want to. Said put the GoFundMe. I've been thinking. I lightweight started one, man, but like I might do it, and that's what, and I might still, because a lot of people have been saying I need to. What up though, Mike P? Yeah, a lot of people have been having a second person helping us, but yeah, it really is. It really is. On when you're filming yourself. But yeah, like I might do it. Like what I might do is I won't be harping on it a lot, but I might make me a banner and put it on a nice little banner and put it on the bottom and tell people to prepay for the stream. So you're not donating any kind of money. You're just prepaying for your stream in order to see the project come to life. And my goal was to live stream. I know it's going to be hard to say I'll live stream every single day, because I want to have a topic. I don't want to rehash topics like over and over, because I don't want to do y'all like that. But I could go back through a lot of my old topics just to kind of keep the momentum of going live daily. And I do want to go live more, because I'm just tired of these people that's louder and online more than we are, and telling the story wrong, and really, leading our people the wrong way. And so I got to play a larger part than what I'm playing. That's both going to be within the documentaries, as well as me being online, as well as being on live stream, as well as me making my 10-minute content videos, because people love me for those as well. And so I got to really step up my game to help people. Again, this is just to help people. Y'all know I don't do this for the bread. Y'all know your boy got some bread. Okay, I ain't a rich though. I ain't gonna lie, your boy ain't rich, but I do got a couple businesses, and I live downtown. I'm all right, but I'm not doing any of this for money. I'm doing this for my people. Um, and that's the most important part. Like somebody was saying, like some people would know. Somebody was saying something, but that wasn't about Tariq. But whatever. Said do collabs with a line creator. Yeah, no, that's real. The one that I'm trying to do second, this since this Roots one is now going to be first. Is going to be like with like people like C3 Mommy, and um Yaya has said yes one time. Hopefully she'll say yes again. She's still on that tip. I love me some Yaya. Uh, and some other folks, several folks, B for All and some others. Like a lot of the people who have good followings and who I know show sources. The people who I know have read books and been on these platforms and stuff like that, and there's many others too. Give the link to the Kickstarter. We got you. Appreciate that. Appreciate Janet. I appreciate you. I love y'all for that. Love y'all seriously. And I can't wait to produce more of this for us and to help us move to another level than where we are on these apps. You know, that's my goal is to affect as many people as possible with the truth. And y'all looking forward to appreciate that, Meta. But what's up, Lana? FF fuck around and find out. um I said Auntie's gonna cook. You know she will. You know she go in. You know what I'm saying? And we got the sources. We got receipts galore. So yeah, no, it's definitely time for us to step it up. Time for me to step it up. I'm sorry, and put all of my talents to work for our ancestors. And that's the most important thing. And there's so many stories to be told. I've only scratched the surface on starting at this, and I've learned a lot, but I've only even scratched the surface, to what's really happening in the United States. And I can't wait to really unveil it all as much as I can. Next level of scholarship work. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got to hold that's you got to hold that's cussing to build your audience. Yeah. Yeah. Say, yeah, I'm just gonna let the pen and the paper do the talking, but I respect the work. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, and yeah, no, we all are gonna have to have our respective locations within this journey, within this enlightenment period of our folks. Me, I've been groomed in a sense for this. Like I remember when I literally said when I was a kid, and many times in my head, in my teenage years, in my most of my teenage years, in my early 20s, like I want to know everything there is to know. I want to learn. Like you can't tell me you can't know everything in the world, without you trying. I used to say things like that. I wanted to help our people. I wanted to build a city. I just wanted to do better for our folks, and that was before I knew I was in an Indian. That was before I knew about my family's history. And I've always pushed every other movement to the side. And it was like, I'm not going to join nothing. I'm not a person to join anything. That's why I was kind of mad that I slightly lightweight started to get close to FBA back in the day, because I finally start to slightly lightweight get close to something, and it's a bunch of bullshit still. So I feel like I got duped on it, and I'm too intelligent to be getting duped. So that really pissed me off. In my head, I'm too intelligent to be out here to get duped by a bitch ass nigga like Tariq. But he didn't really dupe me. I just really thought it was something more than just the political bullshit. This whole lineage thing, but once I found out I was Indian, I actually did my actual ancestry, genealogy. I ain't never gravitated towards something so fast, and galvanized so hard towards something in my life. And it's not to be, and y'all heard me, some of y'all heard me on another panel, it's not to be a leader at all. I I'm not gonna say I don't want to be a leader, because I don't want to put that away if that becomes something that the universe puts in my lap. But I'm not doing this to be a leader at all. And even when if people do start looking at me as some type of leader, I'm gonna let them know, but not like Tariq lets them know. Tariq is like, uh, I'm not the leader of FBA, but then he'll go out there and tell y'all what y'all need to be doing. I'm never going to tell you what you need to do. I'm going to tell you what the truth is and show you. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to show you what the truth is. I'm going to show you what scholarship is. I'm going to show you the books. I'm going to show you the videos. And that's what we need to stick to. There's no leaders but the truth. Now, there are some people that may have a little bit more influence, but that doesn't mean that they're a leader. And how do you, like I said, that's how Tariq is a leader, because he's always telling people, man, y'all hear what they said on the news yesterday about such and such? Man, FBAs, y'all need to get out there. We need to be stomping the streets hard. That's what a leader does. He's telling you what you need to do. We need to stop dealing with these people in these tethers, and y'all need to be go harder and get on that TikTok and do this and that. And then they'll get on TikTok. We tethers, y'all. I mean, y'all tethers. They doing exactly what that. Not only is he showing the wording that he's a leader, but also his people are proving that they're following. And nobody that comes to my stream says that I'm any kind of a leader. You may give me thanks for my scholarship. You may appreciate my work profusely and throw me some gifts from time to time, but you're not praising me like some leader god, and it would never be that way. And to be honest, the reason why it will never be that way is because I don't even have to say the words I'm not a leader. It's about how you act. I can tell you right now, as long as I continue to do the same thing that I'm doing now in 2 more to 3 more years, and let's say I end up having 100,000 followers and now things are really moving, as long as I'm continuing to just do the live streams like I do them now, nobody will look at me as a leader. People won't be like, oh man, uh, to be honest, is weird because no people don't really. That's how crazy Tariq's word is working, because people don't really be out there taking up for Tariq like crazy, but they take up for everything he says. Because I was just about to say people to be like, oh, Tariq's my leader, but people don't really say that, and that even goes even more so to show how they follow his doctrine to the T, because that's double. All he does is double speak. I'm not this, but I do this. We're FBA, but we're from here, but we're not from here. We're not Africans, but we're African descent. We're not Africans, but we have African DNA. We're Indians, but not that really. But the red Indians. All these all these different double speak kind of thing. That last one wasn't really a double speak, but all these different double speak kind of things, and these people, they're out here doing that same thing, and it's just sad. It really is sad, man, because as we've seen this whole situation with Jesse Jackson coming to his closing moments of his life, um we're seeing a transition to a whole nother misnomer from African American to this FBA. We're starting to hear it in the news a little bit and stuff like that, man. And we got to do something about it. And the only thing we can really do is try to inform as much as possible. Battle some of these trolls and debate some of these folks, but try hard really try hard to inform folks. And don't get me wrong, I got grace for FBAs that come over. I'm not super hating on them, but I am going to be harsh on the group as a whole, because y'all got to know that y'all got to be at this point, y'all got to be broken down. Y'all got to be y'all got to feel like it's stupid for you to be in this. At this point, because your pride, a lot of these people's pride is so great, we almost got to make you feel stupid for being in that, for you to get away from it. And it's sad to say it that way, because if we just come to you with scholarship and just come to you with information, you just roll it off. So at some point, I feel like we just got to make you look stupid. Oh, you really believe this? You didn't see this shit over here? Are you that stupid? And at some point, they're gonna be like, don't say that about me. I don't want to be out here looking stupid. Who told me this shit? Tariq? What the hell is this ethnogenesis? Got me out here saying these words, continental African and shit. I didn't know what that meant, plebiscite shit. I'm out here using shit. Yeah. You're gonna have to make these people feel stupid in many cases, or some of them might come over not from feeling stupid. Some might come over because they just so happen to gravitate to a live stream where somebody's teaching stuff about the Indian shit. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you like this though, real quick. I don't even know if that's the case on that. I almost feel like you got to make it feel stupid, because we just saw, and I ain't seen him in my live stream in a minute, Mingo, and I saw him over there on Gimme Five's panel as a moderator, and I was just like, you've been in my live stream a lot for a while, prominently, and if you don't understand where we going from here, because he was like, I don't understand where we go from here, and I'm still just not sure. You must not be paying attention to what, especially if you over here talking with give me 5 minutes, whatever his light Tom or whatever his name is. Like I ain't with this whole switcheroo shit. And earlier today, there's another nigga. What was his name? I seen him on the panel, and it was only 8 people on that panel. I took a screenshot. I'm screenshotting every time. I ain't gonna give a fuck. Uh, James something McIntosh. Now he was on a panel with a lady that was talking hella reckless, looking like a straight. I wish I could show y'all this. I can show you. Hold up. Looking like one of the most meth of the meth heads, methist of the methist heads. Let me not get restriction. This lady right here, you can barely see her, but you can tell she looked like she missing most of her some of her teeth. She got that little flat face, weird. Look like she could be on the streets of L.A. and goddamn, what's that, Skid Row? Yeah, one of these Skid Row looking motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And she was sitting there talking all kinds of reckless. And then the book she was throwing out talking points from a book that talking about how Native American babies were unalive by doing this and that and crazy. And she was like, yeah, yeah. What's the word? She said, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was so bad that I almost wish we were slaves like y'all. Like, if we were just slaves like y'all, it would have been so much easier to deal with than the stuff we had to deal with. I said, I know this nigga is not on this panel sitting here just chilling with these niggas saying this shit, and you ain't said a goddamn thing. I can't do it. I can't salty crack. And the person I'm talking about is this person right here. If y'all see his page, he came to my inbox one time. That's what's so crazy. Asking about the Macintoshes. And I gave some information about the Macintoshes because I was talking about them at the time. Another person I saw on this panel, y'all, look at this. American Freedmen Organization. Now, technically, it must be a new page and they only had like 30, 40, 50 some followers. But why is the American Freedmen Organization person, somebody from that, on a panel with people like this, nigga? Did I get any of that record? I think when I started recording, they stopped somewhat talking about it. Hold on, I got a little bit of recording. I don't think I got anything good. Did I get some recording? I may have just screenshot it. I think I just screenshot it. Cause yeah, I don't think they kind of started moving in. And then she would say something crazy and then go to something else. They would go to something else. But I almost started following her so I can listen to more of the shit she got to say. But you know what? I don't want to go too hard because then I get off my. I got so much stuff to study and to try to teach and shit that I ain't got time to be dealing with these folks. But I'm watching motherfuckers. I'm watching people. Um and saying this dude right here, he's a cop on his page. If you go to it, you can see him in his cop uniform. He's a veteran cop. So what is he talking about? He's on their side. Same thing with these. There was a white T dude up here speaking reckless. Okay. I I'm tired of these folks. I really am. So the only way I can combat them, because I can't cuss them out too much and go crazy all the time, because I get banned, is to get on here and try to teach and try to reach more people. So I don't trust them. Wow, yeah, yeah, blessing. What's up, Black Receipt? I don't trust. Yeah, exactly, exactly. That might be Jason and them. Like, are you talking about like Jason Black? Or no, you talking about who's Jason? You talking about not Jason Black? You ain't talking about Jason Black. The originator used to say his ancestors were African. I ran him down before. The originator. I don't know who the originator is, Nick. I'm trying to think of who the originator is, or if you're talking about Prophet Origine. Um, and she said you ran his ass down before. The immigrant said FBA is African descent. I think we really got to put that in their face. I showed them the documents and website and says that. So if you African descent, why you fighting with the Africans? That's real talk, Angel Radio. Yeah, we got to make them look and feel dumb as fuck for believing this. Now that's real talk. Because it's hard right now at this point. It's like I don't know what else. Some of these niggas is they ain't too far gone, but goddamn. First time here. What up? What's up, Kyle Ao? What's kick? What up, Akila I? What's happening with your folks? Said work on other projects like fiction and shows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, so we have to have a two as creators of films. I want to have a two-sided approach. So you got your documentary side where you're really giving information in documentaries, but then kind of like C3 Mama, she has a coloring book. We got to hit all these different facets. So the coloring book C3 Mommy has, and C3 Mommy, if you want to come up for a minute before I get off of here, tell people about your coloring book before I leave. You can, but that's going to go to the children, right? And so the children can now do that. And then when we do films, I'm going to put subliminals in my films. Yeah, we can make blatant um films that are directly about Indians, but we can also make films that are just still hood nigga films, right? But have subliminals of us being Indian. It could be a hood nigga film, and then this nigga's at his grandma's house, and she telling him about this Indian story, and maybe after a while, this nigga's kind of discussing it with his gang folks and shit. And so you kind of throw it in there where it ain't corny, but you kind of throw some subliminals in these things. So, but yeah, go ahead, C3 Mommy. Let them know. I'm gonna throw you up here if you're on the big screen if you want to show them everything.
There you go, guys. Thanks, Sam. Thanks to everybody who's been letting me use their platform to, but the black is strategic, y'all. No, we're not black, but it's strategic. American Idiot coloring book, right there. This is the first page that we colored so far on live. As you can see, it don't look the exact same when you look at it. So this is for the children. Any age can actually color in it. We started the next page, but I had to stop. So you see the kids can do the creativity, can make designs, their own patterns and stuff on it. So I tried to get every aspect. The next coloring book, I will have some girls with some locks in it, like this young man got right here. Trying to zoom out. There we go. Link is in my bio. It takes you straight to the book. The book is $10.44. I did this so our children can see themselves being represented. And I have also a children's book that's going to be coming out real soon as well.
Nice.
Link is in the bio. And then on the last page, when y'all get to it, y'all see it. As you read, but all the things that our people still do to this day. You know what I'm saying? Making shoes. I know y'all be seeing them videos, on YouTube videos, not YouTube, TikTok videos of people decorating shoes and making them and stuff like that. Stuff we still do today, but more in a modern sense. So they can connect this to their culture that they have right now. Some of our people still hunt, you know what I'm saying? Some of our people like to wear the raccoon tails and hats and stuff. Show that some of our people lived in huts, not like them African huts, the American ones. It wasn't made out of shit. Literally, it was made out of good stuff. This is my favorite page right here because it shows the grandparents, and that's who we get our history from. And then I left the last page blank for them to use to, explore their creativity, draw whatever they want to. And then here go the back of it. It says the coloring book that celebrates the not often talked about but never forgotten heritage of Black Americans, showcasing the beauty of ancient traditions of the American Indian children and families through joyful scenes of dancing, crafting, gathering food, caring for animals, and spending time with their elders. Each page encourages creativity while honoring the oral history passed down throughout generations of American Indian heritage. So the link is in the bio, y'all. So when y'all get y'all book, please tag me. I want to see the creativity that your children have, even if you get it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Please tag me in it because I definitely want to see everybody's creativity.
That's what's up, man. That's so what's up. Appreciate that, C3 Mommy. Y'all make sure to go through. Let me remove it from there. I'm making sure that the people from YouTube can see your book too, and Twitter. Let me hide that. But yeah, I appreciate you coming up here and showing the book. And
Thank you for letting me advertise.
always appreciate you. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all get that book. I already ordered a copy. So it'll be coming up in here. and make sure to support. These are, like we were saying, these projects are things that are gonna go even further to help educate more people to who we are and to the truth. And I love how her book has things in there, like we were just talking about baskets. And I got, we got these things in here that in the roots that we were talking about, that we were making baskets and stuff like that. Let me get this fool off my damn screen. Making baskets and different things, man. So it's an amazing thing, and it goes into your child's subconscious, when they're coloring these things and looking at these images, and that's what you really want them to see. Because right now people are so fucked up that when people talk about Indians, the first image that pop into their head is Asian, and we got to change that. We got to stop that. So I got to get off of here before I get too late to get to my office for the podcast. So I love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for being here, like always, getting this game and this information. We ain't had too many trolls. We got them up out of here. And we're going to keep it like this, man. So y'all enjoy y'all evening. Thank you so much.